No, Genadendal takes one back in time. Look how beautiful, beautiful. Now I have to make a stop here. Yeah, welcome back to Werner's View channel. Yes, I'm riding over the earth-fill wall of the Theewaterskloof Dam. So if you watched the previous video, you will know that I ended the previous trip here at the overflow of the Theewaterskloof Dam. And yeah, while I was stopping here, one of the employees of Waterworks also made a stop, and he said, no, the dam is only about 86% full. They don't expect it to overflow this year, except if there's now really two big, say, cold fronts coming through the Western Cape. But yeah, still 86% is quite a full dam, so this is good. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to this trip. I'm very excited about this trip that we are starting now. I've been looking forward to doing this on the motorcycle for some time already, and it will also take me to my end destination for today, which is the beautiful town of Greyton. But before we get to Greyton, I want to ride the Helderstrom Road to a special town, and that is the town of Genadendal. Genadendal has got a lot of old history and interesting things that happened there, so I'm looking forward to talk to you more about Genadendal once we get there. But for now, let's enjoy the roads through the blooming canola fields. We are riding on the R43 and we should get the turn off to Genadendal and Greyton very soon. Yeah, we're just pulling out here of the basin of the Theewaterskloof Dam on the R45. Of course, I'm doing this trip with my trusted Honda CRF 300 Rally. Yeah, the distance to Greyton is not very far. I think it's around 50 kilometers or so. You can see I don't have my GPS on at the moment because I'm struggling, as you may have seen in the previous video, a bit with my battery of my cell phone. It simply does not want to be charged quite properly by the bike, and not quite sure if it's the problem with the cell phone or problem with the charging system of the bike, but it's a bit confusing because I'm also charging, of course, a number of other things like the drone batteries and also the batteries of the cameras, and they seem to be charging without any problems. But it's the phone that is struggling, but I know the phone's battery is not behaving very well. It does not last as long as it should anymore, so it's probably something I need to check out, because I realize more and more how dependent I am on the GPS. Even if I take more or less familiar roads, I sometimes get lost if I don't follow the GPS, so I prefer to be guided properly. But at least for the road that we're taking now, I should be fine. I know more or less the road, so let's see. Yeah, so we made it now to the top of this hill. It was quite a climb. Sure, but this time of the year in the Western Cape, it is absolutely beautiful. I always say, if you want to pick the most beautiful month of the year to ride through the Western Cape, it must be the month of August, because wheat fields are green and lush, and the canola fields are blooming, and it is just a picture perfect landscape no matter where you look. Oh, just look this valley towards Greyton. So we're going to take that road now, so I just need to make the turn here in front. We're seeing all kinds of flowers also next to the road, so come spring I think we're going to have a beautiful flower season again in the Western Cape and the Northern Cape, of course, towards Namakwaland. this is the turn to Greyton and also Helderstrom. So Helderstrom is the road I want to take, because you know me, I don't want to take necessarily the shortest tar road. I want to take the more twisty and turny dirt road. Now this is a bit better from a wind perspective. Just look at this valley. I mean, I'm naming this series the Cape Valley series because I seem to be just riding from the one beautiful valley to the next, and I cannot tell you which one is more beautiful than the other, because it is simply stunning wherever I ride. I mean, just look at this. I mean, the green fields and the beautiful mountains at the back. Oh. So these mountains that you see here is of course the Rivier Sonder End mountains. Now if you cross these mountains you get to towns like, well, you get into the Brede River Valley, and the closest town crossing the mountains straight across is the town of McGregor. And you will recall in one of my previous series I did the road from Swellendam to McGregor. So yeah, we already did a ride on the other side of the mountain. Today it's on this side, which is completely different and, well, but just as beautiful. So I just checked on the GPS now. I thought that the Helderstrom Road is a road that will turn to the left, but no, Greyton turns off to the right, and this tar road is now becoming the Helderstrom Road. As far as I know, this road does become a dirt road. Let's hope, because I'm looking forward to some dirt road riding. That, yeah, on a road that hugs this mountain quite closely. So let's see. Ah, there the dirt road is starting. I remember correctly. Let the fun begin. As I know, we will be getting closer to the river as well. I'm not sure what this river is called, but I'm looking for just a leg stretch stop. Let's see if we cannot spot a place soon for a bit of a shady stop. But yeah, this is the river area, it seems. Eucalyptus on the right hand side and the pine trees on the left hand side makes quite a distinct lane of trees down this part of the track. So this is the Elandskloof River we are passing now. I'm not sure if this is the main river. It might just connect up onto the other one. The stop here in the sun next to the road, but it's not extremely hot. It's a cool breeze. It's actually a fantastic day, and yeah, just taking a bit of a leg stretch, take a bit of a sip of water, and just enjoying the quiet of this road. It's amazing how many birds you can hear simply down there towards the stream. Yeah, we are only about 13 kilometers or so away from Genadendal. I will continue soon. I've not spoken much about the bike in the last few videos, so for those of you that's new to the channel, of course, I'm doing this with the CRF 300 Rally. I just love this bike. It can go anywhere, and yeah, I've discussed many aspects of modifications that I did to the bike. So if you want to see that, please go to previous series. If there's anything specific you would like me to direct you to a video, I can do so. But I just thought I wanted to mention to those of you that's been following the modifications of the bike, that one big change I did make before this series starts is I have a new back tire. So I can maybe just get a bit closer. So the stock tire was done. I mean, it was a bit, yeah, the tread was a bit low. So I replaced it now, and I was just checking what tires one should put on this bike, and in the end I opted for the Dunlop D606. So this is more a proper off-road tire, so it's probably not the wisest choice when it comes to if you do too much tar roads as well. But I just thought I want to be ready for things on dirt roads, and it gets very, very good reviews. So you can see the knobbies on this tire, and yeah, it probably will not last that long, but the stock tire also didn't last that long. It lasted about 7,000 kilometers. I'm not sure if that is good. It doesn't sound very good to me. The front tire is still the stock tire. This is the Trails GP tire. It's the same make that I had at the back, and that probably also needs to be replaced not too far in the future. But let me know what you think. What do you know? What are good tires for off-road? Well, maybe for general purpose, but also off-road, and maybe specifically for this bike. Do you use the D606 on your bike for off-road riding? Maybe some other proposals of what I need to consider in the future. Yeah, I would love to hear your comments. And did I make a good choice? You are welcome to to let me know. Yep, it happened again. I was just doing a bit of a footage take, and when I had to turn around to collect the camera, I made it a little bit too tight and too slow in the dirt road, and the bike fell over. So I struggled a bit to get it up in its wheels again. In the end I had to take off the luggage, but yeah, I could pick it up quite easily then, and then I had to fit the luggage again. You might be able to see it in some of the footage in the distance, but these are the things that happens, and that is why the bike has got protections like the hand protectors as well as the pannier racks at the back, so no damage to the bike, and yeah, all good to continue. But it remains unfortunate, and it's usually these very slow maneuvers that causes the bike to fall over. But yeah, that is part of the fun, I would think. This Helderstrom Road continues to twist here along the Riviersonderend mountains. Yeah, we should be about 12 kilometers or so now away from Genadendal, so we'll be there soon. Yeah, we made the approach to Genadendal now. Let's make the turn here at Strydom Avenue. So Genadendal has got a long and rich history. It is the oldest mission station in South Africa, and already in 1738 a Moravian missionary named George Schmidt came to this area. Now just on the side, Moravia is of course a place in what is now the Czech Republic, and they have been doing missionary work since 1457. So you see these Moravian missionaries all over the world and in many places in South Africa. So one of these Moravian missionaries, George Schmidt, came in 1738, and he started to do missionary work under the local tribes in this area. But he only did it for 7 years, until 1744, when he left after the Dutch Reformed Church didn't want him to do the sacraments of the church. And it's only much later, in 1792, when 3 new Moravian missionaries came and the missionary work continued. So the missionary church was built 1795, 1796, and then many other things added, like a water mill and things like that, as well as a library. So these are just the outskirts or the town area of Genadendal, but I'm heading towards the old historic center of the town. You just see, I think I'm just going to head straight for now. So yeah, 1738 the missionary work started, and then exactly 100 years later the first teachers college in South Africa was also established here in Genadendal in 1838, and that is today the Museum of Genadendal. Now I see some people in Genadendal still make use of an old horse cart. You can see here in front. But yeah, from Genadendal the views here on the Riviersonderend mountains are beautiful. So the heritage site is down this street. So these old buildings are all quite distinct by these yellow colors. So they're all painted in this light yellow, so it's quite prominent. This is the L.R. Schmidt School, so yeah. And this is historic Church Square, and here in front is the Missionary Church of Genadendal, the Cottage Museum, and this is the first library on the left hand side, which is today the museum. Just look at this church. Now Genadendal takes one back in time. Look how beautiful, beautiful. Now I have to make a stop here just to look at this. I made a stop here at the historic church square in Genadendal, here next to the missionary church, but also the old historic buildings that surrounds this square. So I'm just going to make a bit of a walk around and soak in the history here. Please join me. This is a special place, and the fact that all the buildings are uniform yellow, very old, there's just an atmosphere that is difficult to describe here in Genadendal. So come with me, let's have a look. The most prominent building is of course the missionary church. This is genuinely a very, very old building. I can see there on the corner it says 1891, so it was definitely built in the 1890s. But the historic buildings continue. Well, down this street. This is the finance office. And then interestingly, in the middle of the square is this white building. I'm not so sure why it is white and the others are yellow. There's also a water mill that I would like to go and look at, but before I go to the water mill, I first just want to have a look here at this lane, because this leads to the old pear tree and the old cemetery, koi huts. Let's just make a bit of a walk down here. This is quite an historic site in Genadendal, because George Smith, when he came in 1738, planted a pear tree, apricot tree and so on at the site, but the most prominent one is the pear tree. Now the current pear tree here is apparently at exactly the same spot where George Smith planted his pear tree, and the legend goes that if you sit under this tree you will get wisdom. So let's have a look. Okay, and the mission cemetery is down to that side. Now, of course, Genadendal is also known for some more recent history, and maybe I can just mention that arguably the most prominent or well-known current resident of Genadendal is Dr. Isaac Barley. Now, Dr. Barley, during COVID, decided to write a book about the history of Genadendal. So he produced a beautiful book describing everything that happened over the hundreds of years of the existence of Genadendal. Now, Dr. Barley was the curator of the Genadendal Museum for more than 50 years, so I suppose he will know what he talks about when he writes a book. But what is interesting is that Dr. Barley was also the person that met President Nelson Mandela when he came for a visit to Genadendal on 10 October 1995. Now, that was quite an historic visit for the town, and what is so significant is that after President Mandela visited this town, he decided to rename the official residence of the president in Cape Town to Genadendal. So that is where the name comes from. If I'm not mistaken, the water mill, there is a board for the water mill. So here is some shops here, the L.R. Schmidt apotheek, the chemist, the pottery studio, a Moravian bookshop, printing museum. Yeah, so all kinds of things that still happened here over a long time and probably still happens today. Paper making, spinning, weaving. But look how beautifully preserved these buildings are. Now, the water mill in Moravian settlements or missionary stations seems to be a key part of it, because you will recall that I also had a look at the water mill there in the town of Mamre when I visited that Moravian church. Okay, unfortunately this is now locked, so there's water. At least it should probably be on this side. Yeah, I suspect the water mill is down there, but I cannot see it, and the gates are locked. But yeah, it is still wonderful to just see and experience all these old buildings. I suspect that is the pastor's house, the white one, but I'm only guessing. In this little courtyard there is a stone here for George Smith. Now, as far as I know, George Smith did not stay in South Africa. Here he says, George Smith, the first missionary in South Africa, born 1709. He came to South Africa in 1737 until 1744, and he died in 1785 in Germany. Yeah, so he was the founder of this missionary station, and you can see that the name of Schmidt is still quite prominent in the naming of quite a number of buildings. So I parked the motorcycle quite close here to the old bell tower. You can see the bell is still hanging there. And the information center is in this building, but yeah, it seems to be closed. And there's a guest house, so it seems that if you want to stay over in Genadendal, it can be done here. Yeah, so I'm just having a look at the plaque here on the church that's just confirming, as I already mentioned, the history of the missionaries and George Schmidt that came. So when he came to this area, it was actually called Helderstroom, or Valley of Baboons, but the name was changed to Genadendal in 1806. And the museum is just here across the street from the church. It's in a beautiful old building. So on a Saturday it's only open until 2 o'clock, so that's why it is closed at the moment. Yeah, with the sun becoming low here in Genadendal, I'm departing, but what a beautiful sight to visit. There is, as I said, an atmosphere here that I don't find easy to describe, but one should come and experience it for yourself. Just the authentic and old history that is displayed here is tangible. But we have another short distance to ride before it's the end of this trip, and for me to find my place where I'm going to stay for the night. So I'm going to head out of Genadendal now to the town of Greyton. So Greyton is another beautiful little town, and it's only about 6.5 kilometers from Genadendal, so it's really not far to go. So it's already 5:10 in the afternoon. If you've watched my previous videos, you will know that I started this day in Simondium, so that's just on the other side of Franschhoek. So it was quite a few excursions that I had in the last few trips. So I'm looking forward now to maybe get to my place for the night. Oh, we already made it to Greyton. It's even sooner than I thought it's going to be. Just look at this setting. Yeah. So Greyton was already established in the 1840s by a certain Englishman with the name of Mr. Vigne. We named this town after Sir George Grey, who was the governor at the Cape. But yeah, it is just a beautiful little village. Let's just ride through it a bit before I look for my place for the night. Let's make a turn here just to check. Look at the quaint little houses. No, this is a very popular place for people to stay. Cute. It is the quaintest little houses. Yeah, so I just took the first street off the main road, and you can already see the distinct character that the houses have here. Oopsie. You go down here, you need to go through the river. I don't think I'm going to attempt it now. Why tempt fate here? So let me just go to this side. So the place I'm going to stay tonight is called Via's Guest House, and it is also in the main street, so I must just keep my eyes open because my phone has already died on me. Yeah. Oh, here is Via's. Oh, Via's on the right hand side. This is where I'm staying, so I will come back to Via's. I'm staying here in the main street. Let's just ride through the whole main street to get a sense of the whole town. Oh, there is the church in front. Yeah, but the backdrop of the Riviersonderend Mountains, just beautiful. So one thing that Greyton is quite famous for is its Saturday morning market. Now, I'm unfortunately a bit late for that. It is late Saturday afternoon already. But that market is also held here off the main street. Actually, I think the Saturday market is held here on the right, yeah, where all these stalls are. Right across from the church. It is now 5:22. I did say to Matthew that is hosting me that I will be around 6 o'clock, so I'm slightly early. I simply booked Via's via Lekkeslaap.co.za, so I will give the link so that you can see if you are interested as well. Ah, what a friendly reception here by Matthew at Via's Guest House in, well, Greyton on the main road. So yeah, also very convenient. I can take my motorcycle to the room, so I don't need to leave it in the street. It always worries me a bit. But let me just show you what this looks like. So it seems like Via's is an eatery, roastery and an art gallery during the day. But then it also has some rooms here at the back. So it's called Via's Bed and Breakfast. So this is a little side passage where I could take the CRF through. So very convenient, off the street. And yeah, right here at the door of my unit. So I'm staying in this unit, so you can see how here is a nice little table and chairs, a parking spot for the bike out of the way, and yeah, this is the room. Quite a large room, seating area, and even a couch on this side. Quite a large double bed, some tea and coffee facilities, fridge, and then also quite a spacious bathroom. Yeah, looking very good. I'm quite tired, so I think I'm going to enjoy the stay here. This now brings me to the end of the trip for today. Thanks a lot for joining me on the ride today, all the way there from the Theewaterskloof Dam and the earth wall, and then we made the ride through the beautiful countryside to Genadendal. I really enjoyed spending the time in Genadendal. I hope you enjoyed that visit with me and the beauty and the history and the atmosphere that is captured there. Also, of course, the ride through Greyton. What a quaint little town. I mean, every house you look at is quaint, and it's clear that people are beautifully preserving and building the houses here. Yeah, so if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Tomorrow I'm continuing. This is not the end. This series of Cape Valleys and the trips through the Cape Valleys, they are continuing. But see you in the next video. Bye bye.